Hello darlings, how the devil are we? If you're looking for games to play and you hear the term Space Punks, then you've probably heard the term Diablo meets Borderlands about 17 times now. Anyway, I thought the game looked really cool. I've got a fair bit to get through, so we'll get straight to the point. And yeah, tell me what you think in the comments after you've listened. So to start with, the game, as previously mentioned, is a top-down ARPG shooter with an extremely strong Borderlands-esque stylism running all the way through it. The team behind it are Flying Wild Hog, and if you're not familiar with them, then you should be familiar with the Shadow Warrior series, which should give you some comfort because these guys are absolute veterans when it comes to making over-the-top looter shooters that are just incredibly fun. And it looks like Space Punks is going to follow a similar sort of vein to its gaming brothers and sisters. So I'm just going to get this out of the way. What I'm about to tell you is all speculation and being extracted from the trailer, but I've gone through it with a fine-tooth comb, so hopefully you'll find this interesting, and I did pull out some pretty cool details. I'll give you what we have actually got confirmed from the studio. So they do say that it is a living, breathing and ever-changing game world. To my understanding of that and Shadow Warrior, it doesn't actually mean that you're going to be going into some sort of roguelike style game. Instead, they have just created multiple universes that are vastly different from each other, and the various missions that you go on to, I quote, gain fame, glory and wealth will be wildly different from each one. So the game is multiplayer and sports up to 4 people, and much like Borderlands, there are 4 distinct classes that you can select between. So in terms of the actual classes, which do kind of have a very similar overlap feel to Borderlands, and I'm sure I'm going to be saying this a lot, you've got 4 different archetypes. So we've got one that's already been confirmed, which is Duke, and he looks like to be your run and gun soldier-esque class. You've got a lady with 2 blades. She looks to be your assassin type of class. You've got a small dwarf pig, and from what I've seen has also been very melee-esque. And last but not least, there seems to be some sort of grasshopper / insectoid guy, and if I was to take a rough guess, I would say he's some sort of sniper archetype. So much like Shadow Warriors, the gameplay seems to be mission based, so you're given a mission, you beam down on the planet, and then you must complete the objective that has been given to you. And along the way there are hordes and hordes of enemies that you must basically kill your way through using a variety of fun and interesting abilities. So again, this is just speculation, but it looks that each class will have one primary weapon and also a secondary melee weapon. Also, is my understanding that each character can use any of the weapons, but they do come with their own distinct unique abilities. So we'll go through in order. We'll start off with the weapons, then we'll move into the melee weapons, and then we'll finish off with the character abilities that we've pulled out. So I will say, just like Shadow Warrior, they have done a fantastic job with the amount of weapons that they've put in. There looks to be loads of them, and they look to be really fun. So far, I have managed to identify dual akimbo pistols. There is also a shotgun that you can equip. Additionally, there are also heavy weapons. I identified a minigun as well, which also looked really fun and also fit the theme of the game because there were just absolutely hordes of enemies coming at you, and it really felt like it wasn't just something special that you picked up, it was like you needed this. In terms of other additional heavy based weaponry as well, I noticed that there was a plasma based sniper rifle that looked like it had one hell of a kickback and a big shot when being fired. Other details on the heavy weapon front as well includes there is a flamethrower with an absolute ginormous range. And additionally, there is a purple-based energy weapon, and from what I understand is that you fire, it creates an orb of energy in front of you, and then shoots off lightning bursts around it, so like an AoE kind of lightning gun. There were 2 other weapons as well that I couldn't really identify, but one, if I was to take a guess, looks like it's a heavy cannon with a big large orb on the front of it with lots of little blue orbs. If I was to take another guess, I would say it's another AoE style lightning gun-esque weapon, and it looks like there are also some sort of droid-esque robot things that you can send out as well, but I only caught a brief glimpse of it, so that is yet to be confirmed. And actually, on second thoughts, it actually looks to be a player-specific ability which relates to Buck, but we'll get onto that a little bit later on. I just want to talk about the weapons briefly. I managed to find 4 that looked quite distinct and unique. The first one is I saw used by the little pig creature, basically was like a dual pair of axes, and it looks like you could leap up and like smash the enemy with them. The second, which is always a personal favourite of mine, was a big ass 2-handed mace. I didn't actually get to see any gameplay of the mace being used, but I imagine it has some sort of big thuddy ground attack. The third one was a 2-handed sword. It looked kind of like more like a gun blade without the actual gun component on it. And you can do a jumping kind of smash down slashing attack on it, and they look like they have some AoE abilities on them as well as the jumping attack. I also noticed that they had like a curving ability, so you can do like an arc in front of you to deal with multiple enemies, and this is just a theme throughout the whole game. There's lots and lots of enemies and you need to deal with them with every gun that does AoE basically. And the last one was on the guy who has coined the smart one. So basically it was like a blade with two edges on it, so kind of like Darth Maul's, you know, dual wielding lightsaber. I'm not a weapons expert, so it's probably got a proper name, but yeah, it's a handle with two blades on either end. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is the special abilities, because I thought they looked really cool and unique, and I pulled out all the ones that I could find again. So in order, let's have a look at the crazy one, the little pig creature thing. So he has an ability that you can activate, and he creates clones of himself that basically run out and explode all over the place. Now, I saw a few articles that said that this was a mine ability, and if you have a look at it going fast, you can understand why. But if you slow it down, you can see that they're basically splitting out and running into the nearby enemies and destroying them. Now, Buck's one took me a little bit of time to actually have a look through and find out what was going on. It looks like he can create a droid that runs out and shoots stuff around it. I only found a very small clip of it, but it looked like it actually projected out of him, so I'm beginning to think that's his special ability. Now, the insect grasshopper, this was the character that had the mine laying ability. So what he can do is he can teleport a brief short distance, and then he kind of spurts out mines everywhere. I'm not sure if these are two different abilities being used in conjunction with each other, but it looked a really cool crowd controlling ability. But yeah, he sprayed mines all around him, they burrow into the ground, and then they blow up the enemies near him. The last one was the assassin style lady, or the crazy one as she's coined, and when she moves, she has these tendrils that come out of the ground. Now, what I saw them do is they kind of like went along the ground in a path and were attacking multiple enemies in front of her. Additionally, I saw another variation of it, which was a green version, which basically they were like insect arms and they were just jabbing enemies that came close to her. And lastly, she was the character I managed to pull the most abilities off actually from the whole trailer. So she also looked like she had a teleport ability, and similar to the kind of insect guy, where she turned into like this tendrily thing and then darted forward quickly. So if I was to take a guess, I'm going to presume that these special abilities have some sort of customization so that you can make them do different things. Each class will have some sort of mobility option. I think the little short pig creature, his was the actual jump you saw with the axes and stuff. As for the other two, I don't really know yet. As for just the odds and ends and everything else, I did notice that there were various items that you picked up off the floor. There was a yellow, green and a purple one, I believe. I think they correspond to health and ammo, but they could also be some sort of currency that you use to spend later on in the game. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm not going to scrape the bottom of the barrel for details, but either way, it looks really, really exciting, and you should definitely check out the trailer. When I hear more details, I will let you know. But yeah, let me know what you think of the game overall. Are you excited to play this? Do you think it copies Borderlands a little bit too much? I'm really, really interested to find out. But as always, everyone stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll be back with more news soon.